Redesign is the process of change throughout education. The high school, middle school, and Garfield all said yes to redesign. The team so far this school year worked on why statements, which include why they said yes to the redesign project. Redesign contains 4 different beliefs. 1. Students' ownership of their learning is critical to long-term success. 2. When it comes to learning, students should get more of what they need exactly when they need it. 3. Ensuring equity requires getting each student what he or she needs to succeed. And 4. It is possible to redesign schools to work much better for students and teachers. We are going to be focusing on number 1, education ownership.
When going into high school, students begin to focus on their plan and classes for the next 4 years to help them begin their careers after graduating. Students should have the option to personalize their schedules to fit into their career paths while meeting basic high school graduation requirements.
The first 2 years, freshman and sophomore year, students should take required classes such as English, math, science, and history related courses. Then the following 2 years, junior and senior year, should be left for students to take classes that benefit them for their career path. Classes such as comp, college algebra, and the college classes already offered with this school would be options as well.
If students remain undecided about what they choose to do after graduating high school, a generic schedule option should be available that includes courses that would benefit them for going into anything after graduation.
Here is an example of a student schedule. Freshman and sophomore year, it contains various numbers of English, science, math, and history classes, along with other classes needed to meet high school requirements. Here is another example for junior and senior year. It contains more upper-level classes like comp and college algebra, along with chemistry and physics. Any online class offered, foreign language, which would offer more than Spanish, culinary arts, and any other class the student would find interesting with a career.
We interviewed Ms. Fitzmeyer, Ms. Murphy, and the counselors about what changes would be made with students having a broader option available for classes and what their why statements were for saying yes to redesign.
So for Mrs. Fitzmeyer, we said, how important is it to you that students become more independent in the classroom? She said, a student having the ability to show perseverance as well as problem-solving skills, even if that is knowing who to seek for help and guidance, is essential. In order to be an independent learner, we have to facilitate and guide students to become more independent, how to reflect, find purpose and meaning, while also making connections between skills learned, real-world application, and the mindset it takes to succeed. It is equally as critical that we know how to work together while honoring what makes each of us unique. I believe it is a blended approach. More than independent, I would say our goal is to personalize learning. We then asked her what her why statement was. She said, so glad you asked this. I have 3 main reasons. Preparation for the future. I have researched the job market and what it takes to have jobs that are currently out there or those that have not even been created yet. We need more students getting 2 pieces of paper through 1 year, 2 year, 4 year, some certification training. This directly correlates to one's way of living and ability to thrive.
We then interviewed Mrs. Murphy and asked her what her why statement was. She said, education changes people's lives and is the ticket to a different way of life, and no one can take that from you. We also asked her, with English still being a required course with our idea of individualized schedules, how will that affect how the classes are divided among the teachers now? She said, possibly Mrs. Lane with the freshmen, no sophomore or junior teachers.
Okay, we also interviewed Mr. Moran, and I said, how will redesign affect your job specifically? And he said, I look at it as an exciting opportunity to help each student take ownership and find relevance in their education. I see my role as helping students find the path to their goals after high school and providing the resources to get them there. We also asked him what his why statement was, and he said that his why statement is to help every student find success in their life.
We also interviewed Mrs. Lee, and we talked to her about personalizing schedules, and she said, we feel that students would prefer to learn courses that could help them in the future. Lots of students' mindsets with the classes they're taking now is, when will I ever need this in my future / with my career? Personalized schedule and a chance to have their required classes within the first 2 years and having the last 2 years open would help students have a different mindset with what they are learning. We also believe that students having a say in their education more so than they do now would help improve mental health in the classroom.
Okay, when it comes to like the statement that Mrs. Lee said right there, I think that is so true, because being a high school student and talking to my peers about our education and maybe furthering our education or just where we are currently, it's so true that students struggle so much more in school because they have a hard time grasping, like, okay, what am I going to do this with? Like, how is this going to fall into my future? Like, what is this going to do for me now or in my future? Like, what am I going to need this? And having individualized schedules or personalized schedules, like, will help get that, I don't know, I guess that thought off of our heads a lot. For sure.
Like Mrs. Lee said, going from high school to college is a big change for a lot of students. They're used to being in a classroom for an hour at a time, 8 hours a day, asking to use the restroom, referring to bills, etc. With a more personalized schedule, it would be more up to the students with these various examples and would help college not be such a dramatic change. While it's important to look at the student body as a whole with education, students being given information they want to learn about individually and feel will help them succeed will not only give students more willpower to focus on grades and classes, but also give a better foundation for what's next in their life, whether that's post-secondary education or straight into the workforce.